Am I the for breaking up with my GF for suggesting an open relationship and not letting her explain? My GF of about 5 years recently suggested an open relationship. I know what it is, but just in case I misheard, I asked her to elaborate. And yeah, pretty much what you would think. She wanted us to be able to have sex with others. I took a deep breath and said that we were done. I've seen stories about open relationships and know that there's no way in hell I'd ever want one. She tried to take it back, but I told her that the fact she had the nerve to even ask is a deal breaker. FYI, we had never done anything with another person, and I've never suggested any of it, so there's no way I ever gave her any hints. This is something I'd want. I didn't even listen to her and just ignored her as she kept trying to explain and apologize. I just packed some stuff and went to stay with my parents. She's been trying to call me, but honestly, I feel like asking for an open relationship is basically asking for permission to cheat.
That's how my first marriage ended. My now ex-wife suggested an open relationship, but said she had nobody in mind. She just wanted the option hypothetically. However, she'd been hanging out with the one single guy in our local friend group and hid it from me, so I immediately knew what was happening. She denied it completely. We mutually agreed to end things, and she immediately began dating him officially. 6 months later, she wanted to vent about him to me, and I said I didn't want to hear it. She made her bed. I was out of there. Much happier afterwards. It was a blessing in disguise, and I met my new wife a couple of years later, and we've been together over 10 years. Yup, similar. My wife and I had been having issues for a while. One night, she hung out with an old high school friend. She came home and proposed being open. I originally thought it wouldn't be that bad. Years earlier, we had a one-time MMF3 with a coworker of hers. Might have turned ongoing, but he got weird in general and relapsed on something and left town. But either way, we never had any issues between us over it. Anyway. She began sleeping with him immediately. It hurt me worse than I thought, and she kept vetoing me doing anything with anyone else, because despite sleeping with another guy regularly, she wasn't ready for me to do the same yet. Finally, another girl sent me a topless pic. My wife flipped out completely, told me I had to cut the other girl out of my life completely, and she would consider not sleeping with her friend for a while we figured things out. I literally walked into the bathroom, looked at myself in the mirror, and thought, I can't do this. I can't be a man okay with his life being like this. Ended up leaving the next day. For the record, my ex-wife wasn't a horrible person. She just became so selfish and hypocritical. She wanted her cake and eat it too. She wanted to be able to have her fun and yet come home to a completely loyal husband. I was fine with it being open both ways, though didn't prefer it. I was fine us closing the relationship. I couldn't do what she wanted. Authorized cheating.
My husband gave me a warning tap, and I called it abuse. Am I the app? As I am writing this, I am laying in bed with my mom. She's helping me gather my thoughts for some other opinions. I am F24 and my husband is M30. We've been together for 3 years and married for 1. This is a throwaway account just in case. About a week ago, my husband and I got into an argument over his phone, which he had misplaced. I was in the shower when he lost it, and when I came out, he was throwing a fit over it. He was like, "Where did you put it? Have you seen it?" Angrily yelling and snapping. I said I hadn't touched it and I needed to get dressed. My husband was standing in the doorway looking behind the door so I couldn't open it. I said, "Hello, move. Please?" Apparently, my tone was rude because my husband turned around and shoved me into the room. I was like, "Okay, you need to calm down. I can help you look, but I gotta get dressed." He tells me to hurry up. I snap back, "I'm not gonna hurry up. It isn't my fault." My husband turned around and hit me on my mouth with the back of his hand. It didn't even really hurt, but I was appalled. He called it a warning tap because of my attitude. I left right then and there. Called my mom and came over. I haven't left. My brother took me over the next day to get a few things. My husband asked me if all this really necessary, and I said, yeah, it is when you abuse your wife. He was so stricken that I called it abuse. He screamed at me for it. He said I can ruin his career if I use that word. I know that I can, and I know that he didn't even hurt me, but that's how I feel. He sent me several texts threatening to divorce me if I use that word again, or try to hurt his career by saying it's someone important. AITA for saying this, potentially citing this and potentially ruining his career.
Putting hands on someone isn't abuse, only if it breaks skin or hurts at a 7+ on the pain scale. He shoved you, then he hit you. That is abuse. If he didn't want his career destroyed over this, then he shouldn't have raised his hands. He made bad choices. He must face consequence. Also, little question for him. If he isn't abusive, what was the warning tap, hit to the face a warning of? Was he warning you he was going to tickle you? Or that more violence was coming? Warnings are the thing that comes before the big bad scary. So his warning abuse was a warning of more abuse. Congratulations on your abusive STBX, agreeing to divorce. Please publicly destroy his career and save the next woman.
He screamed at you, shoved you, and hit you in the mouth. And then he called it a warning tap, presumably meaning that if he didn't like how you were talking or your attitude, he'd hit you harder. That's abuse by any definition of the word. He wasn't stricken at you using the word abuse. He was angry, because abusing his wife is apparently not good for his career. Mind you, he's not sorry he screamed at you, shoved you, hit you, and threatened you. He's mad that he might get into trouble for it. Have your brother pack the rest of your things, file for divorce, and if anyone asks why, tell them he started abusing you, because that's the truth. If he's worried that being accused of abusing his wife would be bad for his career, he could have tried not screaming at you, shoving you, hitting you, and threatening to hit you harder.
Yeah, not only does he hit her, but he then starts with the threats to try and keep her mouth shut. The man is more concerned about his job and reputation than he is about smacking his wife in the face. It doesn't matter that it didn't hurt. That's just blind luck. Next time, and there will be a next time, it will hurt. There's only one direction from a warning tap, and it ain't down. Let him threaten divorce. It sounds more like a relief than a threat. Never tolerate being hit by your partner. That is gone for good behavior.
Am I the for telling my sister she's not allowed to bring her homemade food to Thanksgiving because her cooking is ruining the meal? Thanksgiving dinner is officially over, and I genuinely don't know where to start. I feel like I just lived through a fever dream of culinary chaos and family drama, and I need a moment to breathe before I can even process everything. My cousin and I are heading out for drinks to dissect all of it because honestly, what just happened deserves its own Netflix special. I'll post photos later when I get home, but for now, let me try to give you the rundown. So, my sister showed up earlier than expected, which I should have seen coming. She came in like a storm, carrying not just her 3 dishes, but also this giant platter wrapped in foil, which she was clearly trying to make a big deal about. She immediately started rearranging the table, moving my dishes to the side so hers could take center stage. She even brought her own table runner and candles, saying something about setting the mood for a creative dining experience. I decided not to fight her on it because at this point, I just wanted to get through the night without a blow-up. Her trio experience was, well, let's just say it was everything I feared and more. She started with a glittery sweet potato mash that somehow managed to taste like a mix of sugar and sand. The glitter wasn't even edible glitter, it was craft glitter, which I didn't realize until one of the kids said, "This is crunchy," and I looked closer. Then there was the cranberry and oyster relish. Yes, oysters and cranberries. It looked like someone had spilled jam into clam chowder, and the smell alone was enough to make me lose my appetite. Finally, she brought a pumpkin curry casserole that had raisins in it for some reason, and this weird fishy smell that clung to the air for way too long. But the pièce de résistance was her surprise centerpiece dish, which turned out to be a turkey gelatin mold. Yes, she took ground turkey, mixed it with some kind of broth and seasonings, and turned it into a wobbly, translucent mold shaped like a turkey. She even garnished it with parsley and cherry tomatoes to make it festive. I wish I were kidding. The entire table went silent when she unveiled it, except for my cousin, who immediately started coughing to cover up what I'm pretty sure was a laugh. Things hit their peak when my mom, who has been defending her this entire time, took one bite of the gelatin mold and just froze. She didn't say anything, but you could see the regret on her face. My sister, noticing the lack of enthusiasm, decided to go on this long speech about how Thanksgiving food is too boring and how she's trying to challenge our palates. She even called my ham and mashed potatoes uninspired, which was rich coming from someone serving glitter sand potatoes. The breaking point came when my aunt, who's usually the peacekeeper, tried the gelatin mold and actually gagged. She tried to be polite about it, but my sister saw her reaction and completely lost it. She started yelling about how nobody in the family supports her and how we're all stuck in the past with our unoriginal food. She even accused me of sabotaging her dishes by not hyping them up enough to everyone. At this point, half the table was trying not to laugh, and the other half was just staring at their plates, probably wondering how we got here. My sister ended up storming out of the house, but not before saying something along the lines of, "You'll regret not appreciating my vision when I'm famous." She left most of her food behind, which my cousin and I quietly threw out after dinner. The rest of the night actually turned out pretty nice once the tension was gone. My dad's emergency ham was a lifesaver, and everyone agreed that next year, we're either going to a restaurant or just skipping Thanksgiving altogether. So now I'm sitting here wondering how this even became my life. I'll post photos later because you all need to see the turkey gelatin mold to believe it, but for now I'm off to grab a drink or three with my cousin to laugh-cry over everything that went down. This Thanksgiving was truly something else, and I don't know whether to feel relieved it's over or brace myself for whatever fresh chaos my sister has planned for next year. Stay tuned for photos. It's going to be worth it.
Honestly, I hope this shows your family the consequences of letting your sister push you around, especially in your own home. And considering what your sister made, you'll hopefully be getting a lot of apologies tomorrow.
I've been waiting for this. I'm in Canada, and our Thanksgiving was a month ago. Thanksgiving isn't the time to be playing around with food. You're feeding multiple families and people. Know what to expect. It's about enjoying food with family and being thankful, not to expand and experiment with food. Groceries are too expensive to be playing around like that. Sister needed that reality check. Did she not taste her food before serving it to people? I feel like this must be a prank on her part. It just doesn't seem real. I followed from your other posts and I was thinking, no one in our family could get away with this. We are Cambodian and just very honest. If someone had bad cooking, we would let them know and not allow it to get to that point. We don't play about our food. I'm so excited to see the photos. I hope you guys enjoyed your Thanksgiving regardless and that the food added some entertainment for the evening.
If you enjoyed the story, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and click the bell icon so you never miss a new Reddit tale. I've got plenty more stories coming your way, from drama to revenge to wholesome twists. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.